Hey, Preston Road Student Ministry, this is Rhett. I'm really excited to be with you again today. I look forward to the day we get to sit together again. But I want to introduce you to somebody today. Like last week, I introduced you to my dogs. This week, I want to introduce you to someone who existed way long ago. This is Bernard of Clairvaux. He was alive from 1090 to 1153. And so he was alive 1,000 years ago. He was a really important dude at the time. He was one of 7 sons and daughters. He founded 60 monasteries and helped found over 300 more. But today I want to talk to you about a book he wrote. The book is called On Loving God. And so the book goes through and the book starts to describe the 4 degrees in which someone loves God. The first degree is someone loves God out of love for self. So what that means is, because I'm looking out for my own good, because I'm looking out for myself, I love God. Which is basically saying, hey, I love God because there's a reward of heaven, or I love God because I'm afraid of going to hell. And so that's kind of sets the scene for the first degree of love. The second degree is understanding that I can't exist on my own. Therefore, I love God and I depend on God for my existence. So it's one step a little bit above loving God out of fear of hell and out of wanting to go to heaven. This is a little bit more. This is saying, hey, I exist and I need God because I can't exist on my own. And so it's still somewhat of a selfish love. It's still somewhat of a love that is out of personal gain. But we're getting to that second degree. The third degree of loving God is loving God because of who God is. So it's loving God because God is good. This is where we start to lose some of our selfishness. And this is where we start to understand that, whoa, God chose to love me? That's amazing. That's awesome. That's brilliant that God chose to love me. Okay, God is good. And so then we go to the fourth degree. And St. Bernard even says, hey, listen, the fourth degree is something I don't even think I can reach. But he talks about it as almost this supernatural type of love. A love that completely possesses somebody. A love that can't go forward anymore because it is absolutely everything. He's talking about loving God with all of our hearts, all of our minds, and all of our souls. And he says, listen, I don't even think that's possible because there's things that just because we're human, but that is the fourth type. And if we can reach that, that's this almost supernatural type of love. And so he says these things, and these things are important to kind of understand. They're good for us to look at and say, hey, I've made this list right here. Where do I fit on my love for God? Like, where do I fit? Am I kind of on a lower level? And is it something that I need to look to bring up? Or is it something that I'm, up here and I'm wondering how to take it to that next level? But another thing he does is he says this. There is no bad reason to love God. Yes, we can grow in our faith, but whatever reason we love God, out of the 4 degrees, whatever reason that may be, that's amazing all in itself. You see, there's a challenge to step up more, but there's also this comfort in knowing we're humans. But the base of the book, this starts off this very way. And so I know that we kind of went towards the end of the book. Now we're going to jump right back to the beginning. And this is what I want to talk about. The question is asked, why should we love God? Like, why? What's the base for it? Why should we love God? And he simply points out 1 John 4, verse 19. And I'm going to read a little bit after that as well, which says, we love because he first loved us. Right there is something super amazing. Because I don't think you understand in the realm of who we are. We do not deserve God's love. We have fallen short of the glory of God because sin in our life, because sin has separated us from God. But God looks at that and says, listen, I'm going to love you anyways. Even though there's this gap that you've created, God didn't create that gap. We've created that. He says, listen, I love you anyways. God puts us on a pedestal because we are his ultimate creation, humankind, and not just any one of us, it's all of us. He loves us. That's the reason to love God, is because he has filled our life so much with this magical love that we don't deserve. He blesses us. He looks out for us. He partners with us. He companions us. He walks along with us. That's amazing. Because we have created this gap, but he has said, listen, I choose to love you. And so we have a response to that. We hear that and we see that love, but he challenges us with a response. In verse 20, whoever claims to love God yet hates a brother or sister is a liar. For whoever does not love their brother and sister whom they have seen cannot love God, whom they have not seen. And he has given us this command: anyone who loves God must also love their brother and sister. We have these levels of loving God that we can grow in, we can mature in, we can achieve more in. We know why and why we should love God, because he's a good, good God. He's a God who has given us so much more than we could have ever asked for. And he has given us love, which is the greatest of all. But the challenge on top of that is to say, hey, I am now to spread love to everybody else around. It's simply impossible to love God and to hate somebody else. So that means we are to love. I challenge you today to do this, to go out and to love, simply whatever that means for you, whatever that means in your context, whatever that means where you may have garnished some sort of disdain towards somebody else. It's time to let that go. We serve a God who lets so much more than that little disdain towards somebody. He moved so much sin just to pour love into us. And so that's my challenge for you today. Whatever it is for you, go out and love. I hope to see you soon. I hope to sit in this classroom and worship with each of you.